Hey everyone, it's Renee from Sweet Pea Labs here to give you a quick preview of the Where in the World Are We digital interactive notebook. I'm going to show you the teacher version of the slides that you get. This is made in Google Slides, easily shareable in Google Classroom. And the teacher version will have a few more slides than the student version, but you will get a student version as well. The teacher version includes some tips and tricks and then some answer keys and things like that. So both of them start out with Where in the World Are We, talking about the cover page here, and then I give you some tips and tricks about how to share it through Google Classroom, and what to maybe explain to your students that they should look for the crosshairs when they are trying to move objects. Students will start their notebook out with this quick little welcome slide that tells them exactly what this notebook is, that there might be information or they might have to interact with the slide in some manner. And then again, here it's a reminder to look for the crosshairs when they're looking, or that they can press undo for if they have a mistake. I'm starting out this notebook with the universe. The universe is the largest thing that we know of right now that we live in. So talking about that it's very big, briefly mentioning what the universe is, how large it is, and that it may still be growing. I don't go into a ton of depth about it. But I want you to notice that the universe slides were outlined in black, and then we move on to the Milky Way that's inside of the universe, and the Milky Way, the galaxy slides will be in red. So everything's going to be color coordinated accordingly. And I talk about the Milky Way galaxy, have a few facts here about the galaxy, and then talk about how you can still see the galaxy, even though we're standing within the galaxy. It's so big that we can also see it from Earth. So that's very cool. When we go into the solar system, again, not going into a ton of depth here, but mentioning that inside the universe, we have our galaxy. Inside the galaxy is the solar system. And I have a slide here. This is our first interactive slide here. Mentions all of the planets in the solar system plus the asteroid belt and the sun, just so they have an idea of how the planets are layered here. And then it just says drag and drop the blue circle around the Earth. So students would just move their circle. Oops. That's Venus. There we go. Around Earth, just so that they pay attention to where Earth is, right? Close to the sun, it's the third planet out. And I talk about that a little bit down here in the speaker notes. So you'll notice in the speaker notes, I'll have some more information for students, or oftentimes directions on what they need to do on that slide. Here again, it's color coordinated. The solar system slides are outlined in orange. And so then here I have, this is what our solar system looks like. That's just a quick colorful diagram for students as a good visual. Everything's revolving around the sun, and they can match the planets to the colors if they'd like. And talking about the fact that it takes the Earth 1 year to revolve around the sun. Here's a quick show what you know. Students will just have to type in the text box whatever their answer may be here. So they can type there. 3 of the 8 planets in our solar system, so they can go back at the slides and look. And I have that down here so that they understand that, what the name of our galaxy is, and 2 things that have surprised them so far. And then go into our next layer inside of the solar system is the Earth. And the Earth, I give some facts here about the Earth rotating, that takes about 24 hours, which is 1 day. Again, the science of that could be an entire notebook. That I will probably make eventually, but for this notebook in particular, I just want them to understand that the Earth spins, right? It spins and then it goes around the sun. And then I have some facts here about the Earth that are just some fun facts, and then another interactive part here. Now, throughout the notebook, we're going to be layering where we live. So it says here to move the circles. The biggest will be at the bottom, the smallest will be at the top. This is an example of what it might look like. And so they're already arranged appropriately here with layers. So they just have to move. We live in the universe, then we live in the Milky Way, then inside the Milky Way, we live in the solar system, and inside the solar system, we live on Earth. So here is your answer key that you will get. This is in the teacher slides. The student version doesn't have the answer key, of course. Then inside on our Earth, we live on continents, and there are oceans too. So I touch on the fact that there are 7 continents, and it says drag the X to the continent where you think you live, right? So they would just simply drag their X over. Here's a quick answer key. I've got the continents circled here. Again, just trying to get them to pay attention that there are 7 different continents. They have different names. I did include this really cute song. Students really love it. It's very catchy. It goes through all the continents and a little bit about each continent. So that's fun for them to listen to. Another interactive part, we have here dragging the continent names to the continents on the maps. And then, of course, the students can go back and like look at where the continents are to answer these. But all they're going to be doing here is dragging the name over to the appropriate continent. And then, of course, in the teacher version, you get the answer key. So you can see that really quickly and do a quick check with your students. And then talking about the 5 oceans, I do mention down here that the students will notice that they see 2 Pacific Oceans, but that our Earth is round. And so actually this edge touches this edge if you were to roll it together. So the Pacific Ocean is one big thing. It's just because we flattened it out on a map. Then I've included throughout the notebook some times when we will click out of the notebook and go investigate in Google Maps. So here, because we were talking about the continents and oceans, all students will do is click here and then click the link, and it will take them to Google Maps, and they can see if they can find all 7 continents and the oceans. There. Okay. I think that's okay because it's only opening 1 extra tab. It's not super confusing for the students, but it is good for them to see it on the globe moving around, as the globe is a circle. Or a sphere, rather. So here, again, show what you know, just checking in with the students as we go along the notebook, facts about the Earth, 3 of the 7 continents, and then again, things that surprised them that they had learned. Continuing on our layers here with colors, we're into the country level. Country level has blue outline, so I used Africa as an example of a continent that has countries on it, 54 countries, and I talk about that a little bit. And I do move into the United States of America as a country inside the continent of North America. Talking about that North America has 23 other countries. I think people really think about that. And so then showing it here again, our country actually has these 3 little parts here outlined in black so they understand where we are on the Earth, and talking a little bit about that down here in the speaker notes as well. And then I give them another opportunity to click out and go look at North America on Google Maps. Then here we have another interactive part talking about countries, saying that there are 195 countries in the world, and put the red box around the continent where you live, and then put the O on the country where you live. So it would look something like that. And then I have an answer key for you, and we have our next layered interactive slide, right? So now we've got universe, galaxy, solar system, Earth, continent, and country. And the students will do the same thing and drag the circles over. And this is what it will look like. So they're seeing the layers that are color coordinated, stacking up as we go along. Then we move into states. Again, a different color here. We've got this light blue color. I talk about the 50 states. Some states are big, some states are small. We've got the states named here, and then dragging the red X to the state where you live. Right, so pretty simple, but make students pay attention to the map and really find where they live on the map. Here we have an interactive slide going to Google Maps, and I introduce Pegman, which is on Google Maps, where they can take them to the street level. Kids love this. They like kind of freak out when they figure out that they can drop Pegman on the map and see the street level. So I talk about that here. And so that's a lot of fun for them to explore. Again, still talking about states. Looking at all 50 states here, you can see that they are surrounding all of the slides. I've got all 50 states. And so it would say, find the state where you live, and then drag it to the box, and then say 2 things that you really like about your state. So pretty simple, but it's kind of a fun search for the students to find their state. Then here I introduce the fact that there are state abbreviations. So I've got the list of 50 states here with their abbreviations, and you'll see why I do that in a minute. But another little interactive part just saying, move the box to highlight the state that you live and its abbreviation. So if I lived in Delaware, it would look like that. Then we move to the city level, which is purple. So we'll have purple slides here talking about the city level inside the state, talk about cities, what they might look like, showing cities on a map and what that might look like for them. And then asking the students, what state do you live in? And then which city do you live in or near? Some students might not live in a big city. They may live in a small town, but they might live near a large city. And so they can name that here. And then I go into talking about an address. And this is how I sort of wanted to pull everything together. What an address is, what it's used for, and the pieces and parts of the address, trying to include for students who live in a home and students who also live in maybe a large building that have maybe apartment numbers or building numbers, things like that. And then we start to interact with this envelope here. So they're going to fill in their city and fill in their state of their address. And then here again, clicking out into Google Maps to investigate their city and state. So they'll click here and then they can type in their city and state since they've discovered what that is, and they can look at that in Google Maps. And we're talking about our home. We're finally getting to our home and talking about, like, how do you tell someone where your home is? And again, investigating our address a little bit. And here we are finally filling out all of the envelope. So these are the directions down here on what we need to do on the envelope, typing their name, typing their house number, their street name, and things like that. All of the directions are here for that. And then having the students click out again to go to Google Maps using Pegman. They love this more than anything. Finding their home on Google Maps is like the world's greatest thing. Google Earth works really well for this too. And then this is our final layering of the all of the pieces and parts, right? So I have all of the coordinated colors, all of the circles, and students will drag them over. They'll have all of the layers now all the way to home. And then I have a final reflection and review, you know, talking about now that they know where in the world they are, what is a place they would like to learn about and why? And then asking, is that place a galaxy, a solar system, a planet, a continent, ocean, country, state, city? Who knows what they'll pick? And then what are two things that either surprise them or that they'd like to learn more about? So that's a little reflection part there. And then just a little congratulations. You know where in the world you are. So that's it. So you'll get the teacher and the student version of this. Reach out if you have any questions. Alrighty, take care.